I want to show you this neck edge. This is an Icord Caston, and it goes into an Icord neck edge. This isn't my best. This is the first one I did. You can tell this is my test yarn. It's totally grubby. Just going to go to the laundry. This is the sweater I'm working on. It produces a really, really nice edge, and it's really easy to do. Just some sequences you have to remember. This is the same thing, exactly the same thing. This is Icord edge. This is the Icord Caston, and here is the shoulder. It looks like this is the shoulder, so you can see where it goes from the shoulder. This is actually the last row of the back cast on, where it turns into the front facing, and you can see it really makes a nice edge, and it's easy to do. This is really a horrible way to do things. I have got to come up with a better way to do this before I continue on with this project. So here is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you I'm not going to show you the cast on. You obviously know how to make Icord. But this is what it comes out like. It is just really a nice edge. So without further ado, let's move on. I'm going to show you how I do my provisional cast on for Icord. You don't need to do it this way. This just makes it real simple. I'm going to tie a slip knot around what I'm using for my cord, for my holder for the provisional stitches. This particular cable gives me the right size for this yarn needle combination, so that makes it pretty easy. I'm going to cast on. I want 4 stitches, 4 stitches for my Icord, so I'm going to do, this is just the Turkish, I'm going to do 5 wraps. When you start, you need to have 1 more wrap than stitches you need in your Icord when you're done. So it's just like that. It's done. This will stay in here. I'm going to do my Icord and I'll be back. So here we are. I've got, I don't know, 6 rows of Icord, something like that. When you are doing it as a sweater, this is actually the back of the neck, but I obviously, when you're making a sweater, you're doing back neck shaping, and you're doing shoulder shaping, and you're doing neck shaping all at once, so I don't want to confuse what's happening here with all the other things you do in a sweater. So I'm just showing you the technique for the transition between Icord to the V-neck front facing. So I'm going to knit all but the last stitch. I'm going to need some stitch marker here too. I don't have any. So I've knit 4 of the 5 stitches. I slipped the last stitch, and I'm going to pick up the purl bump and I'm going to knit it. Slip that, slip the stitch you already knit, and now you're going to go back the other way. And of course my stitches are on the needle backward for this, but if you turn your work, you'll have to stop and think about how you do it. I don't turn my work, so I'm not a whole lot of help to you there. I can just show you what to do where the neck edge and the Icord meet to produce the V-neck. So now I have 6 stitches on the needle. I'm going to transfer the first 4, those are my Icord stitches for my neck edge, and I'm going to knit this one. This is the stitch we slipped. Normally I put a stitch marker here, which makes it a lot easier to separate those 2 stitches. It's kind of a bugger to try and do it without. Now here is where this turns into the back neck edge. I'm going to pick up the same bar on the stitch every row. You see that? I'm picking up the same bar on the stitch every single row. I'm going to transfer these stitches that are on my handy dandy provisional whatever. I'm going to transfer them to, I've got to undo this knot and get rid of this wrap because it's not a stitch. So I'm going to transfer these onto my needle. I think they might be a little tight, but don't worry about that. It will all even itself out as it's worked and washed. So there we are. We're going to pick up this last stitch. See, I've got one more stitch to knit here. And I'm going to knit across. This one is my first cast on stitch, so you're going to have to snug that down. I'm going to knit across. Alright, now this, when I do this, I undo that one, the first stitch halfway, so it doesn't have two twists in it, it only has one. Okay, and I'm going to transfer, do exactly the same thing I did at the other end. I'm transferring these 4 stitches over. I'm slipping this one, and I'm knitting through the purl bump on that one. I'm going to transfer those 2 stitches over, and then I'm going to start my I-cord. And that's, you do exactly the same thing every row. You come up to it, you knit all the way to the end, you slip the 4 I-cord stitches over, you slip the stitch over that you're going to use as your increase stitch. So I've already done that, and then on the way back, those 2 stitches you're going to knit, and then you're going to knit all the way back the other direction, all the way to the end. The reason I don't try and put a stitch on something to hold it when I'm doing an I-cord is so easy to just pick up a single leg, and it doesn't make a loose sloppy mess. If you do an actual I-cord cast on the way it's suggested in some of the videos, you end up with the first row is really loose and it's not attractive. So here we are, we're at the other end. I'm going to transfer those 4 stitches. I'm actually transferring 5, but I'm trying to keep in your mind that these 4 are the I-cord. This one is the turn stitch. So I pick it up, I'm going to do an increase in that purl bump, and then I go back to the end. If you try and do an I-cord edge where you're doing 1 I-cord row for every back and forth that you do on your knitting, your I-cord is going to be tight. This produces I-cord that's the same tension as the body of the garment. Okay, there's my 3, here's my 2, and I go back across. That is really and truly all there is to it. You get to the end, you slip 5 stitches, you reach backward and do an increase in the purl bump. You knit back to the end, you slip 4 stitches, you knit the stitch you slipped originally and the increase you made in that stitch. Oh, now my stitches are all backward. That's all right, I'll transfer them. Pick them off the other way so they're oriented the way I want them when I come back to them. Okay, so now I'm going to slip this one. I'm going to do an increase in the purl bump. I'm going to slip the increase and the stitch I did the increase in back to the needle, and then I will do the I-cord stitches again. That gives me 2 I-cord rows for 2 body rows. Transfer those 4 stitches back over. Knit the original turn stitch and the turn row and knit to the end. That's really all there is to it. It's pretty simple. So here we are, getting close to the other end. This is the stitch we're going to turn in. I still have to knit it though. Don't get ahead of myself here. These are my I-cord. I'm wrapping the yarn the other way because I like my leading leg in the back, and if I wrap it the opposite direction, because I'm slipping those and knitting them the same direction again, it puts the leading leg in back. This is the one I increase in. Now I'm wrapping that because it gives me a better, tighter stitch and I don't end up with a hole there. So you just need to play with it. This is a really good project to do. Oops, I grabbed something there I wasn't supposed to grab. This is a really good project to do. You know, start out with just a few I-cord stitches and then do this. It doesn't take a lot of time and it lets you practice it before you actually put it in a garment. But there it is. There's that. Let me transfer it over here. There it is. That's that. You get a seamless increase from, or a seamless transition from your I-cord cast on, which is these 6 stitches right here, to the I-cord edge on the front. It just makes it really simple.